Keith Andrew. Along here is Paula Hixson. And I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show and joining us on this beautiful day.
My pleasure. I'm glad it's beautiful over there too. I've heard the weather has not been fantastic on the East Coast.
It has its moments. I know tomorrow we were supposed to get heavy rain.
Okay, yeah. My husband and I moved to California from Montreal about a year and a half ago, and so a lot of our friends and family are back there, and yeah, there's just been downpours and flooding and stuff. So I'm glad you got a beautiful day today.
No, absolutely. From where you are, it looks like it's really nice in California.
It is. I gotta say, it's pretty nice here most of the time.
Could be worse. Could be snowing, right?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. I spent 27 years in Canada, so I welcome the sunshine in the winter.
Now, I'm going to ask you some easy questions, some hard-hitting ones. Then we're going to take come off a break, and when we come back, I'm going to pass the show over to you. You can ask me anything you want. Uncensored, freedom of speech, freedom of self-expression, gloves off.
Okay.
And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself? And growing up, were you a study nerd or a party animal?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess I was a little bit of both, probably a little more on the study nerd side, but partied when I could. Yeah.
All right. But what were some of your favorite activities? Some of your favorite sports you were part of? Any groups you were part of?
I was a runner in high school. I ran cross country in the fall, and I was a hurdler in track. So those were kind of the biggest groups that I was connected to. I did take some drama classes. I didn't end up being in the big shows because I was in sports at the same time that the big shows were, and those were more important to me at that time than being in a show. So yeah, I really liked that. I really loved my English class. I had some great English teachers, and we read some really cool books. And yeah, so.
All right. And when you guys were doing a whole hurdle and thing, running track, was it like was it one person running, then the next person, or was it like a group of people going at the same time?
It was a group that would go at the same time, so we would all be in our starting blocks at the starting line, just like sprinters do, and we would all take off when the gun went off.
Ever cause a pile? Was there ever a pile up or anything?
There were a few. Yeah, there were a few. It gets kind of messy with hurdles because once one goes down, like a lot of times other ones will follow suit, and sometimes the hurdler that's either just in front of or just behind you will knock down your hurdle and stuff. So not anything crazy that I can remember, but everybody takes a tumble at some point or another for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Now the next question is: did he ever get to one of the easy questions anyway? Did he ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids, or not into the whole human pyramid stuff?
Actually, my cross country team, there's in our high school yearbook, there's a picture of us doing a human pyramid for a photo that we took for our whole girls team. Yeah.
I love that stuff. I'm a loser.
No, it was fun, and it's a cute picture. So.
Now, do you think that all that athletic stuff is behind you, or do you think you're still up for doing like human pyramid stuff and whatever?
I could probably still do a human pyramid thing. I'm not, maybe not today because I injured my neck last weekend, so I'm just recovering from that. That's why we had to postpone this interview. Yeah, I try to stay active as much as I can. We go hiking a lot. I do a lot of yoga, and I haven't run in a few years because I had some injuries and stuff. But I'd love to get back to running because I really miss it. It was very freeing for me, and it was kind of where I did my best thinking and stuff. And so not being able to do it for a while is starting to get to me.
Yeah, I understand. And it's like to say things smaller, right? If you can't tell right now. Right now I'm fighting off a cold, but I still want to do the talk show, so I'm not going to have anything ruin my routine. So
Right.
it's always good to keep a routine because it gives you something to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and it just keeps you healthy.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And while on the subject of the whole pyramid stuff, I was I'm a big fan of it. I know I'm a loser, but I was trying to
Doesn't
get
make you a loser.
I was trying to get a group of people together to do like a human pyramid group or a club. Would you be interested in joining it? Basically, it's just a giant hangout. You do different pyramids and stuff, and it's just a big social event.
Oh wow! And that's like where you're trying to get that going where you live.
Well, it's a little bit. I'm trying to get like have my New York City group of friends have it there. If I ever go into LA, have my LA friends to do the pyramid. So it's gonna be like
Oh,
pyramid cause country if you want to look at it like that.
okay, interesting. That sounds interesting, actually. That might be fun.
Hey, never say never.
Never say never. Exactly.
Now the next question I was gonna ask you is when you moved from Montreal, how many years were you in Canada? And did you find it hard making a transition over from Canada to the States?
Well, I lived in Canada for 27 years. I actually grew up in Portland, Oregon, and then I moved to Canada just like after I finished high school, and and I was in Montreal for 24 years, and then my husband and I did a brief 3 years in Toronto before moving to Los Angeles. Um, I'd say so being back on the West Coast is familiar to me because I'm from Oregon originally. And I do love the weather because the winters were starting to get to me in Montreal and Toronto. So I would say that the hardest part of the transition is it's a little harder here to network with people, like in terms of getting work and getting auditions and stuff like that. We know some people here, but we don't have nearly the resources that we did back in Canada, and people don't know us as much, and also the field is much bigger here. So that's been kind of a tricky navigation, just figuring out that how things work here. And I do miss my really good friends are all in Montreal and Toronto, so I miss them quite a bit. So that would be probably the hardest thing. But the weather here is gorgeous. We love our neighborhood where we live. We're so close to so many hikes. We really like to get out into nature. So we can do that every week. We could do it a few times a week if we wanted to, if our schedules allowed. And that's been really, really good to look out the window every day. And most days it's so sunny. And I know a lot of people say, oh, like it's boring and stuff. It's not boring to me at all yet.
No, absolutely. And now, how did he ever experience an earthquake, and have you gotten used to them?
There hasn't been an earthquake near us yet. We heard about one that was a little south of us, I think, recently, but not too bad of one. There have been some. We had actually some really heavy rains this past winter that caused some flooding just north of us. But so far, so good in in LA proper. Like there hasn't been a lot of crazy stuff happening. So fingers crossed.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is who influenced you to start your career, and how many years have you been in your profession?
Um, hmm. Well, it's funny because I can't remember what actually made me go into theater. When I moved to Montreal, I actually worked in the fashion industry for a few years because I thought that that's what I wanted to do. Um, but I had always kind of had a nagging thing about wanting to perform. And so I had taken a few years of dance classes, and my main teacher was also an actor, and I knew a lot of other people in the class were also kind of dancer performers. I was just taking it more for recreation, but as I started to meet more and more people who were kind of involved in performance. I knew a lot of musicians, and so I became very um, unsatisfied, I guess you'd say, in the fashion industry. So I wanted to go back to school, and I still wanted to do something creative. And I just said, you know what, let's just go big or go home. I'm going to audition for the theater performance program, and I got in. So that was that. And so I did that got my degree in theater performance. And so I finished school in 1996. So so it's been about 20, 21 years that I've been performing. Sorry for the beeping. My husband's just letting me know that he got where he is okay.
Anything can happen live.
Exactly. That's the excitement of live television.
Now, the next question is, what were some of your favorite films that you starred in? Were you extras, or were you actually the leading star?
I've never been a star in like a big movie, or like, I've mostly played like, most of my resume is made up of being sort of detectives or teachers or authority figures, as sort of a secondary role, in a number of Lifetime movies. And then I've had little bit parts on some bigger Hollywood movies like Barney's Version and Source Code and stuff like that. So it's been mostly smaller roles. And I've enjoyed pretty much everything that I've been on. There are some people who have stuck out to me who are, kind of big names, and it's hit or miss, how approachable and friendly they can be, or you hear stories or whatever. And there's a few people that just really stood out as being just really great people. They were super friendly, and it was really great to meet them.
No, absolutely. Now, what were some of your favorite people that you got the chance to work with?
Paul Giamatti was a sweetheart. He's exactly how you would imagine him to be. He's very self-effacing. He always wants to talk about you. He doesn't like to talk about himself. So we had a nice lunch together the day that we worked together. And he's just very interested in other people and what they're doing. So he was really great. Brad Garrett, we did a movie together where he played Jackie Gleason, and I played his mother, because I played her both young and old. So they put age makeup on me to play the older version of her. And he was a real sweetheart. He had sent a card like a couple of months after we finished shooting, and sent us cards, and he's just super friendly, super great to work with. The director on that film, also Howie Deutsch, was amazing. Rachel Lee Cook is a super sweet woman, and that was a joy. So there's quite a few of them. Those would probably be my top picks if I had to pick.
All right, now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to ask you some more hard-hitting questions.
Okay.
For yourself, or as a gift for someone else. For personal connections, shout-outs, birthdays, proposals, weddings, and much more. Enter your details about yourself so the celebrity can record a personal video message, especially for you, including details such as your name, age, birthday, hobbies, or whatever else you include. As soon as the video has been recorded, you'll get an email with your link so you can share it on social media or download and keep it. Celebrities record videos as and when they can, usually within 2 weeks. But if you want a video for a specific date and it does not look like it will arrive in time, you can cancel it and get an instant refund at the click of a button. There are hundreds of celebrities to choose from and many more joining every day. Search by category or genre. Buy a gift voucher, get updates and offers, and encourage your favorite celebrities to join so they can connect with fans in a fun and unique way. Raise money for their charities and much more. So order your video now for yourself or for someone else.
I'm so bored. Whoa!
Want to see something really cool?
Yeah!
Now you'll never be bored again with Loot Crate, a totally bodacious mystery box packed with awesome toys, radical games, and other surprises. And the best part is, you can get Loot Crate delivered right to your door. So don't delay. Ask your parents and order today.
Everything okay in there?
Yeah, everything great.
back to 339. I'm here with the talented and beautiful Paula Jean Hixson, and I just want to say thank you for sticking with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And now for our listeners, and I'm glad you didn't get sick of me yet. So now for our listeners, the whole point of my talk show, as I mentioned in the beginning, or if I didn't, I always like to make a difference, but doing it now. The whole point of my talk show, and this is the question I was going to ask you as well, after I answer my slogan. So basically, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still overcome. Actually, I've been trying to change that. So my new slogan is trying to think on the go. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of disabilities and learning disabilities and disabilities. They should never give up, and it's to prove to people you can still amount to something. But labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be, and it's to prove to them you can still amount to something. I used to say overcome controversy, and everyone makes fun of me. It's like, you can't overcome controversy. So now I'm trying to change it up. That's why I didn't say it in the beginning, because I'm just trying to say what sounds more politically correct. With that being said, with the time we have now, one hard-hitting question I do want to ask you is, how do you feel about social media, and do you think social media can make you or break you?
Ooh, that's a big, good question. I have the social media that I engage on is mostly Facebook still. I resisted Twitter for a long time, and I'm still. I mean, you saw how it took me like a week to get back to you because I'm hardly ever on Twitter, and I don't get the push notifications and stuff just because I find it too distracting. And then I think I finally joined Instagram last year, which I actually find Instagram a little more fun. I also just find it more artistic because it's pictures and little short videos that people are sharing. So I find that it doesn't become as much of a cesspool as Twitter can. I know there's really great stuff on there like there is anywhere, but I do find I'm amazed at how harsh and hateful people can be in 140 characters.
Yeah.
And I don't like to expose myself to a lot of that. Like it hasn't happened to me, but I just don't like it being done to anybody. So that's where I kind of disengage a little bit. On Facebook, like I'm not friends with anybody. I don't accept friendships if I haven't met you face to face. Like unless I could probably count on one hand the number of exceptions that there are to that, and it's because we have 130 friends in common, and we see each other, on Facebook a lot. There are a few of those people who live in different cities and that I might not get to meet face to face. So I have a few of those, but almost everyone on my Facebook page, I've met them face to face. I've engaged with them personally. So I feel like I have a good handle on my friendship group in that arena. And sure, just like on anything, people can surprise you and there might be some hateful stuff that comes up. But for the most part, I feel like I have more control over the kinds of things that I see because, most of the people that I know are really fantastic people. So
like me.
Like you, exactly. So yeah, well, it was funny because I even when I finally did look on Twitter, when I do once a week or whatever, I looked you up because there's you get all kinds of things that can happen on Twitter and people requesting things. So then when I finally got a minute to look you up on the computer and see who you were and what you were about, then I was like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. So this I can engage with. And but I do that all the time. I go check out people before I accept anything, before I reply to anything. So I think as long as you have a certain protocol in place where you don't have to expose yourself to the barrage of insults and hate and slurs and stuff like that, then I think it can be a really great, like anything, it can be fantastic or it can be horrible. So I think each person has to just figure out how much stuff you want to be exposed to, and and you put your settings in accordance to those wishes, and that's what I do. So I think it can be great and it can be awful. I try to make it so that most of my stuff skews toward the great, and not so much toward the awful. You can't avoid it all, but
Right.
yeah, so I think that's important to do.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just, for people who want to know, I'm still fighting off a cold. And
Oh,
also looking at the time, I have to go to work in like in a half hour. So
okay.
the next big question I was gonna ask you, by the time you're done answering, end up take my pills, right?
Okay.
Don't worry,
Hey,
I'm not a drug addict or anything.
that's okay. I'm on medication also for my neck, so I totally understand.
So the next question I was gonna ask you is, it's funny we should talk about social media, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think, for you, does your following really dictate, say, hey, Paula Hixson has a big following, we should have her in the part of the video, or say, or Keith has a good message, he doesn't have a lot of followers, but he has a good message. So do you think the following matters or the message matters?
For me, it's the message. I a lot of my friends, because it has become something in the entertainment industry where it's if you have a certain number of followers, you might be more likely to get an audition for a certain role, or you might be cast in a certain role
Right.
because it's built-in marketing, like it's a built-in audience, like, oh, that person has 30,000 or 100,000 followers, so the minute they're in a movie or something like that and they tweet about it, all his followers are going to go see that movie, or all her followers are going to go. Um, I I really don't like that metric, because it also forces you. For me, like it would force me to be on Twitter a lot more, and I don't really want to be on it, that much more. I have a pretty full life, so so I don't really care how many followers somebody has. I do care mostly about the person and their message. If they're constantly putting out something that I like, then I'm going to follow them whether they have 12 followers or a million too. You know.
Well, use me for a perfect example. If I had something like, I don't know, 700, that wouldn't make a difference, right? Because I have a good message
No.
and doing a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the action matters more than the numbers do.
No, absolutely. And the reason I bring it up is I got turned down for some people being on my show because, I wanted, I don't know, that's trying to think of some names so pissing them off. A couple of professional wrestlers, it's called
Okay.
professional wrestlers.
Right.
But some WWE stars, TNA stars are like, oh, what's your following? How many people will we get? I try
Mm-hmm.
to get Mickey James and John Cena on my show. I'm like, well,
Okay.
okay, well, if you have Mickey James and John Cena on your show, can you guarantee us 2,000 people will watch an interview? And I say, well, first off, I will guarantee there will be over 100 people watching.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, all her followers will be watching. And it's like, well, that's not good enough. We need, if you want Mickey James or you want John Cena, we need 2,000. Or if
Yeah.
you really want them on the show, then you have to pay them for their time. And I'm like, and I used to pay people for their time. But
Oh.
it's kind of like, I'm not going to do the interview and then feel like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, every interview is kind of like an investment. Yeah, I'm getting something out of it. I'm getting myself out there. Also, I'm getting your friendship. You're
Yeah.
getting something out of it. You're getting a friendship, and you gain more exposure for yourself. So there's kind of like an I do talk with my hands. So there's like an exchange going on.
Yeah.
But as soon as you mention money, it's kind of like you just doing this just to brush me off, and then just get a quick payday, or are you doing the interview because it's the right thing to do?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm guessing you were talking to their management or something, and that's what their management got back to you with.
Sometimes I wanted to talk to Larry Sabisco, but that's another thing. He wanted to be like paid $30, and I'm like, okay, $30 for a half-hour interview. Okay, fine. And it's like, no, 10 minutes. Like, bye. I'm not doing $30 for 10 minutes. I don't have ATM or stupid or cause or sucker cause on my forehead. I do stupid things, but I do know when it's like, hey, he's thinking about interview. It's kind of like.
Well, you don't want to feel like you're being taken advantage of either. Yeah. And the thing is everybody starts somewhere. So, what this could turn into for you in, a year or 5 years down the road and stuff like, who knows? And all of us who have worked in entertainment in any capacity know what it's like when you're first starting out. So, and starting out could be 5 years, or 10 years or whatever. Like a lot of people, nobody's in charge of when their big break comes. So, for me, it felt like a no-brainer to say yes and do the interview. I mean, also personally, I found it very interesting, and this was something that I wanted to ask you, is because I have a brother who's developmentally challenged, and it was funny because when I was up seeing my family in Portland, Oregon for Christmas, my brother is such a huge action film fan. And immediately, I won't have seen him for several months or whatever. I'll, go and see him and say hi. And immediately he launches into a huge review of whatever latest action film he has gone to go see. And and my family and I love it, and it's great. And he really kind of gets into the nitty gritty, and he owns almost every action movie you've probably ever heard of. And I had mentioned, I would love to do like a YouTube channel where it's, Brian's action movie reviews and stuff. But one of the things that keeps me from doing that with him is knowing that there's going to be basically the comments section. And, and he's had so much difficulties, right? He still can't ride a bus or anything like that without being targeted and stuff. And he's just, he's an easygoing guy, and this is this great thing that he has. Like, this is his passion. And I love listening to him give the reviews, give just his own personal reviews, but I wouldn't want to have him exposed to any more bullying and threats and stuff like that than he already is. So I find what you're doing super interesting in that, just in that vein, because I'm wondering if you have dealt with that, what you've dealt with in terms of online attention, good or bad, and how you've handled it.
Well, first off, if you guys would like to work together, I'm more than happy to create his own port on my network. Say, KeithAndrewNetWork presents, your brother, and have his always work there. I'm always looking for people to network with. Number one, hey, you help me, I help you.
Right.
And second, there's a lot of, and that's uncensored, freedom of speech, self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stupid assholes out there.
Yep.
And there's a lot of cowards.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I have seen, and not actually had to dealt with any cowards that would hide behind the screen. I was like, oh, I hope you die, or go, you know what? Or it's like, why don't you go blank yourself? And it's like, as soon as, it's funny. It's funny because people like the freedom of speech. You can say what you want and whatever. But as soon as you make a comment on what they're saying, oh, that's outrageous. Why would you say that? Because it's freedom of speech. Why is it okay for you to say, I don't like Obama, and say, oh, and all of a sudden it turns into a whole racist thing? Or say, I don't like, I voted for Trump because the other guy was a schmuck. And it's kind of like, oh, well, then you're a hypocrite, you're a racist. And as soon as you say freedom of speech and then you give your opinion, and people are like, because they're cowards and they would hide behind a computer screen, they think I'm empowered. I can do whatever I want. I can make any type of threats. I can throw bullshit against the wall, shit against the wall, see if it sticks. And there's no consequences. And people would make idle threats. You know, how I look at it, it's whatever threats I got, either from coworkers, family, or friends, I'm going to say, okay, go do it. Say whatever you want. I'm an asshole. I'm a retard. You know, I'm this, I'm that. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to make you eat those words. I'm going to take over that negativity and I'm going to turn it around and show you I can become a better human being than you. So you don't take it personally. I used to take it personally. Like, oh, little Johnny said that he hopes that I die. And, you know, there's a little thing I like to call karma. So you know, what comes around goes around. So just because, you know, you can be a jack off for all your life, and I have no filter, let's say what's on my mind, is you know, be a jack off for all your life. Be prepared for one day, 1 week, 1 month, or a year, that boomerang is going to come around and hit you right in the ass. And for everything you did to people and talk down to someone, it's going to come back to you. So basically, you know, I will have the attitude of, I'm trying to be, I am professional, but I'm also trying to choose my words wisely. I'm just going to say, I don't give a shit. It's because that's I don't have a give a shit attitude. If you care, then it's got to be, you know, poke, 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 and then you got to turn into glass, and you get a shatter. You put yourself together. Someone says something to you, get a shatter. But if you walk with a shield on you, then you'd be like, all right, if that's how you feel, like John Cena, it's okay, shake it right off. That's when John Cena was good, when he was the rapper.
Right.
But you just brush it off and say, I'm going to be a better human being than that person.
Yeah.
So it's basically just saying, whatever people say to you, negative-wise, you're never going to see those people ever again, first off.
That's true. More often than not, for sure.
No, absolutely. You're never going to see those people ever again. And more likely, you're never, ever going to see those people, period. There's just probably some kid in some Arab country or Indian country, and it's, hey, well, why am I going to Pakistan? Why am I going to India? I'm never going to meet this guy.
Right.
And even if he does come over and meet me, he won't have the balls to say it to my face anyway.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have no
That's
filter.
the big thing. Yeah, that's the big thing. It was funny. I don't know if you've ever watched. I think it's not Jimmy Kimmel. It's one of the late night guys. It might be Jimmy Fallon's show where he does a thing where celebrities read
mean tweets.
Mean tweets.
Yeah.
And I was saying to my husband, I was like, oh, I really wish they would do like tweet at my face, where they would find like one of the mean tweeters and show up at their front door and just say, hi, I was just wondering if you'd like to say what you said on Twitter right to my face, and see what happens.
No, absolutely. And it's kind of like, it's like the saying in wrestling, either put up or shut up.
Right.
And it's kind of like you have a lot of people saying, I can say whatever I want and wrapping up her talk show. It's because just because you can doesn't give you the right that you should.
That's right. That's right.
Just because you can be I almost say A-Rod, but he can just because he can be an asshole doesn't mean, one thing that, I say, I did use some profanity. I do apologize for people out there that are too sensitive. But I walk to the beat of my own drum. I am very professional. I do a lot of good things. It's kind of like from Guardians. We're going to do some good. We're going to do some bad.
Yeah.
And you got to take it a little bit at a time. Sometimes I'm a good guy, sometimes I'm a bad guy. But,
right.
I consider myself to be a human yin-yang because I try to balance myself out. And I don't always think, okay, word asshole. Should I say it or should I not? Well, it sounds good, but it's in context. I don't do that. I know if I want to be on TV, then okay, you have to follow some rules. But basically, it's just I'm being me. I'm not putting a face on saying this is who you expect me to be, and you get what you get, and it's kind of like, and that's what it is. It's basically what it is.
Well, it also puts your energy in the right place too, because it's people who have a public face and a private face.
Yeah.
That's a lot of energy to keep up that charade. So it takes up a lot less energy to just be yourself all the time, and you can direct that energy towards doing whatever purpose or that you feel is yours to do in the world.
No, absolutely. And if I said anything that offended you, I do apologize.
No, I've used all of those words and more. So.
Hey, about my show, you're supporting a message, making a new friend out of it. It's a win-win. You're not pulling my strings to tell me what to say beforehand. I'm not pulling your strings to make you talk. And you're just being yourself, and that's how it should be. You're just being yourself. A lot of people have to be like, well, I have to work with this company and I have to walk on eggshells, and now people get the impression of me that I'm a wuss and I don't have a backbone. The bottom line is me, going forward until the day I die, I'm going to be who I am, and as long as you give me respect, I'm going to give you respect back. If you basically, I'm the type of person, if you're going to puss me, I'm the type of guy who readily puss back.
Yeah.
But, I'm not someone who can just be kicked aside and never see again.
Right.
But wrapping up our talk show, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest opinion?
When you your first tweet that you had sent out?
Yes.
My first thing was, okay, who is this guy? Because that's my reaction to everybody. So from there, I looked you up online, and I was like, oh, he's doing this great thing. Oh, good for him. Like, yeah, for sure. Then, like I said, it was a no-brainer.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show, how can people follow you on social media? Are you on Twitter, LinkedIn, Stage 32?
I am on Twitter at Paula Jean Hixson. My same handle on Instagram. Those are the only two that I'm on. So, yeah, and I'll be forewarned, I'm very lame on them. But occasionally I do look at it and I do respond to things. So just be patient.
Hey, that's when I was younger. A lot of people said to me, one of my friends said to me, patience is a virtue, and I said, yeah, well, you have the wrong person. wrapping up our interview, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. We're
Okay.
wrapping up our interview segment. It was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to building a friendship with you as well.
I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me.